For once in my life, I'm not wearing 16 layers. I'm in Southwest Florida at an Airbnb. I looked at 5 homes today and I'm exhausted. But let's get back to the story. So that Christmas of 2019, when father-in-law was the first Christmas without him, he's dead. We made sure to spend a lot of time with my mother-in-law. But technically, it was the holiday that I was supposed to be spending with my Iowa family, as I had spent Thanksgiving with my in-laws. For 16 years, I have fully enmeshed style been making sure to share holidays appropriately between my family and my in-laws. My family as in my Iowa family. Even once I had kids, it's like that didn't matter for anyone. No one took that into account. The fact that I might want to, now that I have a family, start spending a holiday alone with that, just with my little family. But no, 16 years of enmeshment, and I mean technically 37, I could say 38, but this year I'm not doing it. This will be my first one. Well, but I turned 38 years of enmeshment. 16 years where I was doing I'll share the holidays. We'll make sure that if we spent this one with you, we'll spend the other one with that person. Trying to make it as fair as possible, but no one's ever truly happy. Doesn't matter if you are stretched and breaking thin, no one is happy. Anyway, Christmas 2019 was supposed to be with my Iowa family. We had to push back a couple days when we were going to go down to Iowa because mother-in-law and oldest sister-in-law scheduled a commute, we went to a theater production of Mary Poppins, I think. They had asked when we were going to be going down to Iowa. I had told them, I think in 2019, the 23rd was a Monday. So they made sure, or am I assuming negative intent, they made sure to schedule a theater production of something that day so that we couldn't go down to Iowa till the next day. Then something was scheduled for the back end, forcing us to come back earlier than we normally would have. I'm not saying I wanted to stay in Iowa that entire time. In general, I wanted a holiday alone. I just didn't know how to do it and speak up at that point. But anyway. So as soon as Christmas was over, the oldest sister and middle sister were intent on getting the Florida condo sold right away. And I already kind of referred to this, how I was like, I don't think that's a good decision to immediately make. And my husband was like, well, if you do it right now, I can't help because I'm in school. So the sisters took turns. Middle sister and her husband went down for a couple days, and then oldest sister is. So while the sister-in-laws are taking turns down in Florida, helping mother-in-law pack up the condo, they start asking Matt and I if we want certain things. Do you want a printer? Do you want a leaf blower? Do you want a sewing machine? And we don't technically want anything, because thinking back, we just were like, we don't want anything. But why wouldn't I want a leaf blower or a sewing machine? I wonder if at the point we didn't want things because there's just always a string attached. There's always a reason that you're going to regret accepting something, which happened in this case. So let's talk about it. So at first we're like, no, we don't want anything. Oh, but sure you do. I don't know. There was pressure to accept things. So some of the things I said, we're like, okay, well, sure, we'll take a leaf blower. We'll take a sewing machine. Why not? Some beach towels. You have extra beach towels? Sure. So that stuff was happening. The pressure with take stuff was happening when oldest sister-in-law was down there with mother-in-law. Then when oldest sister-in-law left and it was middle sister-in-law, we started getting a lot of pressure. And these weren't questions. These were demands that 15 or so boxes of stuff were going to be shipped to our address in small town rural Minnesota. And I was like, why would we ship 15 boxes of stuff to my rural Minnesota address? The way mail works is first it's going to go to Minneapolis. That's where it's going to fly, and you live in Minneapolis. So then it's going to drive 50 miles south of Minneapolis to my house, and then I'm going to have to spend who knows how many trips driving it all the way back up to your house. Wait a minute. Is that why you're shipping things to my address? Surely you wouldn't just want me to... You don't want to force me to have to bring things to your house, because inherently that means that I'll see you. And inherently that means I'll see you a whole lot of times because it's so much stuff that I can't do it in one trip. I can't do it in 2 trips. It might take me 3 or 4. So I start pushing back on it, and this is where I really am getting my feet under me because all of the stuff that I've talked about in the videos has happened and I'm just over it. So I start pushing back with, why would the boxes come here? All those neighbors that you were spending time with on the weekends, we would invite you over and you couldn't come because neighbors, we're with our wonderful neighbors. Those same neighbors, those boxes can't be shipped to your neighbors. And then they actually literally share a wall with you in a condo. I know for a fact, before anyone says this, maybe she didn't want him to give him access to the house. I know for a fact she'd given out like 9 neighborhood keys, her garage code, to the point that Matt was uncomfortable with how many people she'd given keys to. So anyway, I'm just like, so none of your wonderful neighbors can take those 15 boxes, and they'd probably love to do that. Here, ship them here and I'll just take them right into your house for you. But we all know that I essentially nailed the reason for why the boxes were coming to us, because it resulted in exactly what I said. It took no less than 3 trips for Matt to put them into our SUV and take them back up the 50 miles that they had come down from being at a Minneapolis post office. Additionally, I don't know what packing tape they had used, if they used like masking tape or what, but they came to our house just absolutely just wrecked. Holes in the sides ripped open, etc. And when the guy was dropping them off, he literally said, I wouldn't put these inside your house. They stayed overnight in the Minneapolis postal facility. They probably have mice in them because it's January. They're filled with towels and clothes, so they're warm. So mice are probably inside. And little old a-hole me, when all 15 of those boxes arrived at my door, I took a photo of them and sent it to that lovely group chat and said something really passive-aggressive, and maybe not even passive-aggressive, maybe just pissed off, like, wow, lovely that there are 15 boxes at my front door. And the reason I remember this so perfectly is because of what I'm about to say. My mother-in-law wrote back, just pretend that it's stuff from Amazon, Bethy. Ooh, laughing emoji. And I immediately shot back like the mature human I am. Yeah, it's just that when Amazon comes, it's actually stuff that I wanted. Oh, I got it for that later from the sisters. In addition, so we get the boxes and we put them in the garage. We don't bring them in the house. I didn't even want them in the garage. But we start looking through them and we're like, where's the stuff that we actually did acquiesce and say, sure, we'll take it? We're not seeing it. Where is that stuff? So we inquire. Oh, that stuff? Well, oldest sister wanted so much out of the Florida home that they rented a pod for her. That is a storage unit that gets left on a property. You put stuff in it, a freight truck picks it up and hauls it across the country. She had taken so much stuff that they got a pod for her. And it just so happens that our stuff went into the pod that went into Chicago. Huh. So 15 boxes were able to be mailed to my house with mother-in-law's stuff. So we're opening the boxes in my garage and we're trying to just, I think Matt was trying to repack them or just make sure that there weren't mice for when we put it in the vehicle. And we noticed that the things that we actually had acquiesced to have we can't find them. Like, where's the sewing machine? Where's the beach towels that I wanted? So we inquire as to where, we thought we were getting a few things from Florida. Not a big deal if you changed your mind, but we didn't see those in the boxes. And we find out that oldest sister-in-law had wanted so much stuff from the South Florida home that they rented a pod. A pod is a storage thing that comes to your property. You fill it up with stuff and then a truck comes and gets it and takes it to its destination. So she got a pod that I'm sure mother-in-law paid. Okay, I shouldn't say I'm sure. I'm highly assuming mother-in-law paid for the pod. Why would that even matter? I don't know, Bethany. Stop being bitter. But the pod came. The pod went to the South Florida home and filled up with stuff. And would you know it? Middle sister-in-law put the stuff that was intended for our house into the pod going to Chicago. Can you believe that? Do you think that was just a little honest mistake? I don't think it was a mistake. And it just seemed like, so a whole bunch of stuff was mailed to my house and made it to my house, but the actual stuff intended for me is in Chicago, that place where middle sister-in-law was already trying to coerce us to come and visit her. Turns out, yeah, it was. Middle sister-in-law had the stuff. And this time she had said, Matt, you and Mom can just come alone, since Bethany, that evil Bethany, okay, she didn't say that, but since Bethany has already made it clear that she doesn't want to come out to Chicago, it'd be great if you could drive Mom down here, not only to get your stuff, but there's also a very nostalgic rocker that also went on the pod to Chicago. And it's nostalgic. So obviously mother-in-law needs that rocker, and Matt, you need to drive with mother-in-law to Chicago to get that rocker. Not to mention the things that were shipped here instead of. Don't you want those things that you agreed to from the Florida house? Don't you understand the importance of Mom having that nostalgic rocker? How could you be so cruel to not drive to Chicago and to take her along? He actually didn't end up doing it. Somehow. To this day, the rocker probably is still there, unless it somehow miraculously made the trip from Chicago to Minneapolis. So only a couple more things leading up to the kitchen table series, which is kind of where I kicked this off with TikTok. It's now March, and mother-in-law texts both husband and I saying that she would like to buy the girls some Easter dresses, and she'd like to buy them from Target and ship them to us. What are the girls' dress sizes? And I said, oh, no need to buy them and ship them. Why don't you just come down? She's back in Minneapolis at this point. They've sold the house in February. She's back in Minneapolis. Why don't you just come down to our house and we can all go to Target and we can pick them out together? That'd be great. Not trying to make myself sound like a saint, but I thought that was showing that I was really trying. She's driving me insane, but rather than you spending money on Easter dresses and then just shipping them to us, let's go together. Let's go get these dresses together. You can watch the girls try them on. It'll be a, fun experience. Let's do it together. I can't remember if she responded to the text thing that she was on with Matt and I. I can't remember if she said, yeah, okay, or sounds good. But a couple days later, Easter dresses from Target arrived in the mail. Bethany, how can you be so cruel? I mean, she sent you Easter dresses. Like, just accept the gift. Accept the gift. What's the big deal? But it's a pattern. That's the thing. It's a pattern of behavior, of asking someone not to do something or to do it a different way, and they just completely ignore you and do what they want. I didn't say anything. I wanted Matt to, but he didn't. You all know he says nothing. So no one said anything. I just fumed under the surface. A lot of buildup. A couple weeks later, she said, I would like to buy the girls some raincoats from Target. This time I didn't offer, let's go shopping together and get raincoats. I said, we have raincoats. The girls don't need raincoats. Thank you, though. A couple weeks later, raincoats arrived. Really cute ones with sequins from Target. Again, it's a pattern, and it seemed to be escalating. So I did confront her via text about this one. I can't remember exactly what I said, and I don't have a screenshot for it. But I said, mother-in-law, I think I said something along the lines of, I'm seeing a pattern of you asking me something. It'd be different if you weren't even asking me about the Easter dresses or the raincoats. You ask me, I give an answer, and you do something different. That's the issue. Again, would be different if she just sent them in the mail. Still maybe annoying, but there is something to be said for being asked, saying no, or offering a different alternative, and someone doing it anyway. So I said, I'd like to talk about this with you. I would like to have a conversation with you about ways in my life in which you are overstepping my boundaries. She said, yeah, sure. How about this upcoming weekend? And I said, sounds great. I planned to leave Matt and the girls home and have a grown-up woman-to-woman discussion about this. Not surprising at all, but it seemed to suddenly sound like both sisters got wind of this, because middle sister-in-law texted my husband something like, Hope tomorrow goes well. This was the Saturday before the kitchen table series. And sister-in-law sent an email to me